HackZone, HackZone. HackZone, HackZone.
Today we'll look at how to install one of the most popular music creation programs, connect our badges to it, and make sure that the badges can control that software. That's basically the program for today. You can follow the program on our wiki, and if technology doesn't fail me, I can now paste the link to that wiki on Discord, and voila, it's there. So whoever wants to follow along, please open the wiki. And if yes, like magic, then I guess I can get started. The program we'll be using today is called Reaper. It's been around for quite a while, and it was created by the same guys who ages ago created this wonderful program, at least for us old school guys, called Winamp. And well, after some buyouts and that kind of stuff, they decided they wanted to stay in the music end of things and created this gorgeous piece of software. It runs on just about any platform you can imagine. If you would go to the download page, you see it runs on Windows 32, 64-bit, OS X, and although they're called experimental, I've tried it on quite a few different Linux platforms, and that works fine as well. It even runs on a Raspberry Pi if you're so inclined. But going back to our wiki page, let's start with the installation of the DAW. It's basically download the thing, run the installer. You can even install it as a portable app, so you can install it to a USB disk or an external drive or wherever you want. And once it's installed, it creates its own directory, and that's where it keeps all its settings. So no funky registry stuff or things like that. So once you have it installed, you get this wonderful program. It looks rather gray and not very exciting for now, but that will change soon. And second thing to do once we have this program installed is getting the badge to communicate with it, which is requires some software on the badge itself. And if you go to your web USB connection to the badge, you'll see in the list of apps, you will see this Midi Reaper control app. If you install it and add it to a button, you have all that's required to connect your badge to the DAW software. One intermediate step that's needed is to download a chunk of text from your badge. That is done by going to Programs and Files. You open your Apps folder, select the folder with your Midi Reaper control, and you get a download folder button. I already did it beforehand. I prepared this one earlier. And you'll get this download.zip file. If you double click it, or depending on your OS, if you extract it, you see the contents of your little program, and we will be using this tiny little text file to configure Reaper. I will go back to Reaper now. In this program, the first time you start it, actually, I forgot that, sorry about that, it will automatically open your preferences, these ones, and it will ask you what your audio device is. In this case, I'm running a MacBook, so I chose the MacBook Pro speakers. You will also, just below that, see your MIDI devices. And one of those devices will be your HackZone badge once you started your application, because that will then present itself as a Midi device, which will be recognized by Reaper. Again, I'd already done this. If you right-click on your badge, you can choose how it speaks to Reaper. And in this case, we're going to use the badge only to send control messages. If you choose enable input without the control message filter, it will actually play notes, which is all nice and cool. And maybe we'll talk about that in another tutorial. But in this case, we want to use it only to control how Reaper behaves. So you put it on enable input for control messages. Click on apply. OK. And we're almost there. Another important element is what will the badge do when you click a button. So if you go back to the wiki, which I close, unfortunately, now I have to find the right button. Yeah, this one. You will see here on the right the mapping of the buttons on your badge to functions of the DAW software. If you click on it, you get a big image. You can download it, print it. I saw someone made some really cool keycaps. Maybe someone can even 3D print this and stick it on their badge. In any case, the colors on the badge itself match the colors on the little key map here. So we go back to Reaper itself, and we say options, action, sorry, show action list, which will show a window with all the different things that this program can do. One of the key features, or one of the cool features of Reaper, is that it's utterly completely configurable. So every single action you see here can be mapped to either a MIDI controller like the badge, or a specific keyboard, or whatever you can think of, it can handle it. It even has a programmable web UI, and you can assign buttons to that web UI and do all sorts of funky stuff. But in our case, we want to add that little file that we downloaded previously to this key mapping, so that this software is aware of what the badge is sending it. So we go to the button key map, select import shortcut key map. It should open the browser, and in this case, it will be in our download directory. That's that download folder that we got from the badge. Select the key map, click open, and that's it. And if you now look, for example, I know that some of these buttons are called something with transport in them. You will see that these transport buttons are, come on, damn it. Uh-oh. These transport buttons have, oh God, mice and me, we always fight, have this added thing, MIDI channel 1, that is the channel on which the badge is transmitting its data. Note 71 will toggle the repeat. So let's see if that's true. Repeat is this little button here. And now I forgot which one it was. I think this one. Let's start Reaper. And very important thing. If we want to send any data, we also have to make sure that Reaper is listening. So let me check, did I do things correctly? Options, preferences again, and it's disabled. See? Enable input for control messages, apply. I thought I'd just done that, but He didn't seem to agree with me. And I now press the play button, and as you see, the little transport, yellow transport, is moving forward. I can stop it again, and it goes back to start. Okay, that's setting up the badge to actually talk to Reaper. And wow, that went a whole lot faster than I'd expected. So that gives us time for other fun stuff. Cool. I think how about we cover the DAW basics. What is a DAW? I really went over that without explaining anything. So I think I have to go back and sort of give a little tour of the software. What makes Reaper different than many other music production pieces of software is it doesn't make a distinction between audio input, audio files, MIDI, and I'll describe what MIDI is in a bit for the people who are not, haven't had experience with it. You can just add tracks to it like you would on an old-fashioned 8-track recorder, or a tape deck, or any recording device you can think of. And how would you do that? Well, it's very simple. You say track, new track. It can't be more simple than that. What it does, it creates a track, and the same can be done. Let me get my little cheat sheet there, because otherwise I forget. You can also press the second button on the top, and if I haven't made a big blunder, you can create as many tracks as you want. And what you see at the top here is basically time signature. So like the counter on your tape deck. What you see on the bottom here is a mixer, like the stuff DJs use to control the volumes and other aspects of your various tracks. You have a master control where you set the volume for your whole piece of music. These indicators here, these numbers that you see here, are bars. And as we are now using 4/4 signature, the bar is chopped into 4 little segments. Now you're wondering, yeah, okay, but how do I get music or sounds or stuff on this thing? Each track can be armed. And with arming, you're basically telling your software that when you press record, that track will start recording. So you can either do it by pressing the button, or use your badge and press the arm button. And yeah, it only arms the selected track. And how do you select the track? That's what we have these 2 buttons for. You can move up and down on your tracks, select the desired track, arm it for recording, or disarm it for recording. That simple. But then, okay, you want to record it, but what do you want to record? That is decided by this button here, the effects button. If you press that, you get a menu. And if it wasn't glitching, you would now see a whole list of effects you can add, but that's called the demonstration effect, I guess. I shall just try it again. It's armed for record. I choose an effect, and yeah, I broke it. Sad me. No, it really doesn't like me today. It's not gonna help if I choose another one, I'm quite sure. Nope. Well, guys, how about I restart it and I'll try again? Sorry about that. No, I don't want to save. And I'm joining. Well, now he does seem to like me. And he's stuck on this effect browser. Okay, good. Let's try again. As I said, new track, That's this button here. And we give another shot, and this time he likes me. Ah, good. When you open this, you can choose a bunch of plugins. Another thing I will explain later, how to obtain them and how they were created, but that's for later. And Reaper nicely organized them in type of plugins. Ignore the names for now. Are they instruments? Are they effects? So for the effects, it has a bunch of different categories: a delay, an equalizer, a reverb, and go on and on and on and on. You can also sort by who created it. In this case, Kokos is the guys who created Reaper. And I shall choose a very, very simple synthesizer created by themselves. It looks completely underwhelming, but it works. So here we matched this track to an instrument. And now we actually want to hear the instrument, won't we? Well, we have something for that. That's this button here. With that button, we start a little virtual MIDI keyboard, on which you can play notes, but we still don't hear anything. Why, oh, why, oh, why? On the keyboard, one very important thing, the badge sends its data over MIDI channel, and that's MIDI channel 1. And MIDI is a protocol which has 16 entrances, 16 channels, literally channels over which it can communicate. But as we don't want to have any interference between what the badge does and our keyboard does, we're going to tell the keyboard to use channel 2 rather than channel 1. We also have to tell our track here, the one that's armed, which I could have also done with this button, of course, that its input is our virtual MIDI keyboard over channel 2. And you can't hear it. Unfortunately, the audio is not working. But maybe if I get my mic very close to the... Can you hear it? I'm leaning over the keyboard now, but I'm playing notes on this track, and at least you can see all the nice little VU meters go back and forth. So if I was a virtuoso, I would start playing, and you would hear this wonderful music. By the way, this virtual MIDI keyboard is mapped to keyboards on your computer's keyboard. So if I play the notes on my keyboard, I can pretend it's piano keys, and you can even play chords on it, which is sort of cool. If we start recording, one important thing is at what tempo are we recording, and when do we actually start playing something? That is configured in, where was that again? Options, yes. And a very handy tool is Metronome. At least you're sort of have some idea of rattling along at the same tempo as the software thinks you are. And another important setting is the Metronome and Pre-Roll setting, which is here. It determines how many bars are ticked off by the metronome before it actually starts recording. In this case, I set it to run the metronome only during recording, do a count in before recording, and it will do that for 2 measures. So if I switch on the metronome and I would press record, it starts 2 bars beforehand and then starts recording. That's simple. And if I press the transport again, it comes with dialogue saying, do you want to save what you just recorded, or shall we just discard it? As I didn't play anything, we can say delete it. Oh, oh, yeah, sorry, delete it. Okay, and it's gone. That's the very, 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 very basics of adding notes to things. Another thing I can do is just arm the track again and start the recording and just 2, 3, 4, start playing some random notes. And as you see, yeah, save all. It recorded them. If you double click on it, and that's the power of this kind of software, you see on this piano roll, a bit like those old-fashioned pianos you would see in Western movies where where this roll goes along. And for Dutch people, it would be a bit like a muziekorgel. So just regard these as notes that are being played, and they go past this piano and they press the various keys while it's transported. So if we stop it and go back to the very beginning, and I do play, you see the bar going along the notes that I just played. You can take those notes, move them about, make them longer, make them shorter. You can quantize, which is this button, which basically says, hey, shift the note to the closest. In this case, I set my grid to 1/32, so closest 1/32 size of a note. And so that it does sounds a bit less messy than the way I generally play. This little slider here, in this case, what is it? It decides how the velocity of the note, so how loudly it's being played. And as you see, the little value at the top moves along with the slider. So this is a very powerful way of, even if you're just as crappy as me at playing, you can correct your mistakes, get things nicely lined up, and go ahead. Can you up the volume of the MIDI software a bit? I would love to, but the problem is I can't, the audio of the computer is not connected. So yeah, all I can do is sort of lean over the keyboard and hopefully my mic picks it up. I'm so sorry. But I'd really, really suggest download the software. It's tiny. It's free for 60 days, and after that, it costs nothing. They're actually very lenient. If you it's not crippled in any way. You can use it as long as you want, but they would like you to pay for it at some point. But it's absolutely free to use. So please experiment yourself. Okay, this is not exactly the sexiest instrument you can imagine. It doesn't look nice. It does lots of interesting things. You can set all sorts of parameters and type of shape it has, and how much sawtooth. And let's not get into sound synthesis because then we'll be here for another couple of hours. But you can get very, very pretty instruments, both commercially and for free. I've added links to some resources I've used for them on the wiki. I divided it into categories. This guy, for example, has quite some funny little instruments. I'm currently using some paid instruments. Well, some instruments I got with my little keyboard, which, well, maybe I can show it on the camera, but it's nothing more than a keyboard. Nothing more, nothing less. Not very exciting, but I can maybe show how cool that stuff can look at a certain point. For example, what's a nice one? I think Reactor 6, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And this looks a lot sexier than what we had here, which let's remove that. Again, you can't hear it, but I assure you it's awesome. And you can get tons of this stuff. All sorts of instruments, as I said, on websites like where it has my browser gone. Darn it. No, now I'm opening the browser to the office, which is nice, but not really interesting for you guys. Sorry about that. Hey, there you are. Here. You can get tons of stuff. Be careful if you get, when you get this stuff, that it's compatible with your operating system, unfortunately. That was one of the next subjects I was going to touch. What are these add-ons and what do they do? Well, as you can see, this is just one of the sites. You can get drums, you can get drum kits, and those are just a selection of drum sounds, individual drum music, synthesized guitars, brass instruments, and they generally either play samples, which is recorded audio from the real instrument, and you can play that back, or it actually generates the music on the fly, the sounds on the fly, and that's generally the synthesis type of stuff. And just make sure if you download something that it's for the correct operating system and the correct bitrate. So unfortunately, most is built for Windows, or unfortunately, well, it's the most popular OS, so hey. Oh, I was expecting a storm on on Twitch, but okay. If you click on one, you get a download link. You can download the thing. In my case, I placed them in a directory. Yeah, in OS X, it looks slightly different in a standard directory, which you can, if you go here in Reaper, you can also find, which is under Preferences. We go to these plugins. In this case, they're called VST. They were originally designed by Steinberg, this standard of plugins, and it's now universal. Everyone uses them. And if you look here, this is the places where you can place that downloaded file, and Reaper will find it automatically. And if it doesn't, you just press rescan and it goes to all those directories, finds them, and then they become available when you press on this FX button. So if I do add, these guys are all installed in those directories. And I think I was a bit too fast. I'm only halfway through, and I wouldn't know what else to give you guys to start making stuff yourself. Maybe I can help people with installing, or any thoughts or ideas? I'm wondering, because I was just too fast. And yeah, hi. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. So you basically want to say we want to send musical notes to Reaper through the badge. Mm-hmm. Yep. If that would be very cool, actually. I I hear Tom fine. Kak. So people heard me answering you and have no idea what we're talking about. Sorry, slight technical glitch. Yeah. Tom was suggesting, and that was actually something on the to-do list at the want list, that in the remaining time, rather than only showing how to use the badge as a controller, we live real time expand the app to actually become not only a controller, but also an app on which you can play your musical notes. Maybe it won't be ideal for as a piano keys, but as a drum pad, it would be really, really awesome. So I would suggest to assign maybe one of these buttons or one of the control buttons to switch to MIDI playing. But I don't know if anyone's interested to hear that. No, live demo. I'm too shy for that. Sorry. I've been making some stuff, but it's all yeah. And some will appear on the badge as a sequencer app, but at the moment nothing live, and I also don't have anything connected at the moment. So, and also, to be honest, I used Reaper quite a bit for a while because it was free and it works really well. It has a low learning curve and a bunch of very, very good tutorials, which I would really suggest you follow. These are by the Reaper guys themselves, and I just went through just from the start here, went through the whole list, and yeah, it takes a couple of hours, and then you're there. It's not that hard. And well, I can definitely hear you, but I don't know if the rest can. And I don't know what the lag is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I already did, but I'll ask. Does anyone have any questions, anything regarding how to use software, how to use MIDI, and I was about to explain what MIDI is. MIDI is basically the protocol used to send digital music data from one instrument to another. And it's been used, it's been around for I would guess 40, 50 years. Nah, maybe not 50, let's say 40. And it's still used today. It's now mostly over USB. It used to have these dedicated, it used to be transmitted differently through these old DIN connectors. And I remember my first TX7, it was called, a Yamaha thing, which I unfortunately sold and now worth a fortune. But anyway, what else can I show? We have tutorials. I was explaining that you have instruments and effects. What you can also, maybe I can show that. Besides using these digital instruments that you see here, you can also just record audio. When, for example, I arm a track, I can say instead of the input being MIDI, the input can be a mono or stereo input. And if I do, which I don't have mic connected, but then I could select a mic here or select a guitar or drums or whatever input you have and record it the same way you would be recording an audio track. And another way to use real sounds is rather than using synthetic instrument. You can use, for example, Cocos has one, which is called, let me check, this guy here, Feel Samplomatic, where you can open a file. I don't have any WAV files on here at the moment, but open any music file. It will be displayed here. And then you can use that as your bass instrument and move up and down the scale with that.
So Quinten, I've been told that I'm now live on the air, so I hope this is true.
I hope so too.
If so, please let us know in the Twitch chat, because we're really not sure at this point.
I hear someone say yes.
Very good, very good. Okay, so Quinten, if it catches your interest too, we can try to at least show how to modify this application. And we should start by going to the documentation of how to write your own app.
Yep.
Because what Quinten explained to you, to listeners before, is that at the moment we send all of the MIDI data from the badge to MIDI channel 1, and we need to look. If we can send it to a separate channel. So we need to send it to channel 2 instead of channel 1. And so we're interested to see if our API currently supports this or not, which I'm not too sure of. In the documentation for writing apps yourself, there should be a MIDI.
This one, I believe.
Yep. There should be a MIDI page. And in here, we will see in the note on whether we can specify the channel, and we can. So this is very nice.
Yes.
This is very nice. Okay, so now we have to modify the Midi app. And you can do this on your badge, Quinten. So we will try to do it on your screen, because I'm not sharing mine, of course.
I was already going to the hatchery, but okay, let's.
If you have access to the hatchery, you can do it there as well. But I think
no, let's. I think I have both of them. I have MIDI controller here.
Yeah. So you can use either one, but I think the Reaper control one might be nicest to use.
Yeah, sure.
If you open it and open the init.py.
Right there.
Yeah, you just need to add at the top import touchpads. If it's not there already.
It's not loaded yet. Yeah, here we are.
Good. So import touchpads, or just add comma touchpads after the other imports at the first line. So this allows us to use the touchpads module, and through this we can register a function so that we know when someone presses on the touchpads. Now we need to add a new function. You can do this anywhere you want, so maybe below the key map or wherever you prefer.
Here we are.
Yep, we type a new function. We start with def, DEF, and then a space and a function name that we want. So let's call the function maybe toggle. Let's make it easy on ourselves, and we'll just toggle between screen 1 and screen 2. Yeah, so you
toggle?
You type toggle, yeah, and then a parenthesis open and a parenthesis close, and a colon or dubbele punt in Dutch. And then you enter. Right. Now in here, we need to modify some state of ours that determines whether we send the MIDI node to channel 1 or channel 2. So here we type global and then space channel, for example, and then an enter. And on the next line we say if channel is 1, and the is a double equal sign, so twice an equal sign. Yeah, and then at the end a colon, and we enter. So if the channel is 1, we say channel gets set to 2. So channel 1 times equals 2.
Channel 1.
Yep.
You see, I'm a great programmer. No way.
So
channel 1.
For the listeners, this is actually quite funny. I'm watching the Twitch feed, which has like a 4-second delay over the sound that Quinten and I are sharing. So it's very interesting to support remotely.
So it's delayed programming.
Yeah, so I think it's great fun anyway.
Go ahead. If channel double.
Yeah, you need to add an equal sign between channel and 1 here. So we want to assign the value 1. Sorry, there should be 2. So we want to assign the value 2 to channel, yeah, like this. And then you press enter again. You add else with a colon, and then we say channel equals 1. So what does this do? Every time the toggle function is called, channel, if it's 1, gets set to 2, and otherwise it gets set back to 1.
So
yeah, it should be 1. The indentation is not right here now, so we need 1 tab to the left for both this line and the else line. And then we should be good to go.
Like so?
Yep, yeah, that's it. Now above the toggle function, we need to define this variable channel. So there again we say channel equals 1. By default, we'll use the first channel. I'm very curious to see if this is going to work or not. I think it will. Okay, so now we've made a variable. We've made a function that changes the variable to 2 if it's 1, or to 1 if it's 2.
Yep.
Or any other value. And we can use this variable in the Midi node down and Midi node up function call at the bottom.
Which we have somewhere here.
Scroll down a bit.
Yeah, here he is.
There you go. So now there we have to add, let me quickly grab the documentation as well. We have to add a parameter, a named parameter. And this parameter is called MIDI_channel. So currently there should be just a node.
Yeah, but you work with key indexes, so you just add it.
Yeah, but this doesn't matter. So what is currently there, after it, we need to add a comma. So after key index, we add a comma. And then we say MIDI_channel equals channel.
And I would assume that it's the same for the MIDI node off.
Yep, that's exactly right. Okay, and there's now one thing that is still missing. Namely, we need to hook up this function that we made, the toggle function, to one of the touchpads.
Aha. Can't we hook it to one of the touch sensitive pads?
Yeah, so that's what we're going to do indeed. So I think we will use the OK key for this. This might be nice for a toggle.
Yeah.
Now for your information, Quinten, it might be nice to go to the documentation and then to the touchpads section. So this is under App Development API Reference Touchpads. Yep, there you go. The touchpads link.
Keypad.
No, touchpads we want.
Oh, sorry about that.
So keypad is for the silicon key.
Yeah.
And right now we want to go for the touchpads. Okay, so this bottom line that you see here, that you want to copy, touchpads.on, touchpads OK on OK. This we want. So this makes sure that every time the OK is pressed, our function gets called.
And
you will copy this.
Where that's put?
Actually, can you scroll down?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so you can just put it all the way at the bottom of the file. That's fine.
I have to scroll down at 0.4 hertz, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, your entire screen scrolls.
Yeah.
Okay, so here you paste what you have, and then you change on OK to toggle. And this should call our toggle function whenever this OK button is pressed.
Like so.
Yes. Okay, so now you press the save icon. And before we test it, it might be nice actually to put one last change in here inside of the toggle function. So at the top of the file, it might be nice to add a print statement so we know it's successfully executed.
We see it happening. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So all the way at the top of the toggle function, just above global channel, you can put print, and then in parentheses, in quotes, something like works or toggle or something like this.
So that's sorry, you lost me.
Yeah, so above global channel, you add a new line. And there you say print, and then in parentheses, or parentheses open, parentheses close. Inside of the parentheses, in between double quotes or single quotes, it doesn't matter. There you just add some string, so like works or toggle or whatever. And then we can see if it actually works.
Oh no, that's the one I can't use, right?
No, you can use whatever string you want there. It's fine. Yeah, and then you save it again. And we have to relaunch the app. So you have to press the home button and then start the app again. Hopefully you know where it is on your home screen. I think so. So. What do you think in the chat, everyone? Do you reckon this will work? I don't know.
We'll see.
We're gonna find out. Yeah. Okay. So now we have the app open again, and if you press the check mark touchpad all the way at the right, we should see a print toggled.
Oh. Oh.
Oh no, we made a mistake.
Ah.
Okay. So it's saying the function that we passed into the touchpads expects a parameter, and we haven't given a parameter.
Nope.
So there's two things we can do. We can either give it a proper parameter and use it, or tell Python that we don't care. And the way that you do this in Python is by typing an underscore, only an underscore. So in the toggle function, inside of its parentheses, we will add one underscore character, and that's it.
One, and like so.
I have a delay, so I don't know. But
yes,
probably.
Like so in 4 seconds.
Yes, like so. Yeah. So now you save it, and we can see if it runs.
We have to reload the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, so for everyone just joining, what we're trying now is to quickly modify the Reaper MIDI controller app to see if we can also send music notes on a second MIDI channel.
Yep.
And it might work. TGP thinks that it will work, so I have faith in their faith in me.
Shall I?
I should say. Yeah, please.
Hi.
Did it work? I think it worked. Nice.
In 4 seconds, you'll know.
Yeah, indeed, I will. Yeah, maybe you should tell me if it works via audio.
Yeah. Okay, it works.
I won't look crazy on Twitch.
And also, but it double toggles.
You mean it does it twice?
Yes,
that's not good. Yeah, we get the event 2 times. One for press down and one for press up. And we need to actually ignore the press up, because otherwise, because otherwise it will toggle twice. And if we're channel 1, it will go to channel 2 and then back to channel 1 immediately. So it's not very useful for us.
Not really, no.
Okay, so what I said before about having a proper parameter, this is what we now need to do.
Okay.
So the underscore.
By underscore.
Yes, you replace it with any word, for example, pressed.
Yeah.
And then after global channel, we add another if statement. So you make a new line. You say if not pressed, and you can type out not in just normal English letters.
Yeah.
If not pressed, then a colon, and then enter. You say return. So if we haven't pressed the button, we don't want to do anything. This is what this says. We return immediately the function without changing the channel.
If not pressed, colon?
Yeah, colon, and then an enter, and then return. So immediately return the function.
So as in the word return, you mean?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, sorry, so I don't mean the enter key on your keyboard. And you need you need to indent the return 1 to the right. This is quite important in Python. They're quite finicky about indentations since they don't have any curly brackets. Okay, so this should work, maybe, probably.
There we go again. Save him. Go home.
Yeah, so if this works, we can then test in Reaper whether we actually get the MIDI.
Oh yeah.
The MIDI keys.
Well, now we have an interesting situation. It's that I first had to start the app. How about that?
Yeah, this helps usually.
Toggled. I think it's still toggled twice. Yep.
So that's interesting. Are you sure you pressed save? Actually,
I can try again, of course. Save.
Oh no, I know what happened. We have to print. We have to print above the return. See, so the print gets executed twice, even though the channel doesn't switch. So it's quite stupid. If you just cut out the print line and add it below the if statement, so between lines 16 and 17, or now 15 and 16, it should work. So directly after the return, you put it.
And of course, it has to go back to here.
Yeah. Okay, so it was working before, but it looked like it didn't work.
It was,
we made it also look like it works.
Saved successfully.
Yeah, so we can try running it again.
Yes, actually.
And hopefully within the 4 minutes that we have remaining, we can still show everyone that it works. keep our pride high.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see how it goes, huh?
We're there.
Nice.
Starting app. Toggled.
Good. Excellent.
Toggled.
Okay.
Toggled. But now we have to do the proof of the pudding.
Yes.
Because now we're saying we want notes on MIDI channel coming in from not the virtual MIDI keyboard, but from a real MIDI input on channel 2.
Exactly.
So I don't know in which toggle he is now. I
you can try restarting it to be sure.
I'll just press the play.
So people watching this live stream, feel free to modify this application so that it works nicer and actually tells you if you're in the normal mode or in the keyboard mode. But for this demo,
maybe switching one of the lights on and off.
Yeah, exactly. So the normal MIDI application actually shows the same light for every key. I think it does purple by default. I'm not too sure. Maybe orange. And of course, you could do this after the toggle. You could paint the entire screen in one way and paint it back when you go to the other mode. But for this demo, we don't have this kind of time.
Either we broke it, or I have to change the options because we started and restarted the app a couple of times.
Yep.
Could be that, no, he still sees him. But haha, look. We have to tell it that now it's using the HackZone badge as everything, not only as control.
Yep, quite right. Good find. So let's see if in the remaining 2 minutes now we can still show that it works.
Well, wait, I'll take my headset off. I can prove it.
Nice. So we're still not hearing it, I think.
Was that not audible?
No.
I had my headset sort of inside the Mac.
Yeah.
But I can assure you,
so
can
we
see
we have visual proof that it works, right?
Yeah.
It's all fine.
But we're not there yet. What if I toggle?
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
Did the controls still work?
No. Oh. Unfortunately.
Did it break the controls now?
Yes, sir. And I'll toggle again. We have notes.
Well, one of the things work. That's a good score, right?
And it actually looks very nice. If you feel it live, it's actually playable.
That's really cool. Okay, so there you have it.
And you can even play chords, by the way.
Yeah, actually, during development, I used this application called Virtual Piano or Virtual Keyboard Piano or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I used it to play quite nice music, I should say.
Yeah.
I had a really good time doing it.
But half the toggle works, so I think that's you could call that a success.
That's not a bug; it's a feature, Quinten.
Yeah, exactly.
So Quinten showed in the first half that you can control your DAW software, your music making software, with the CampZone 20 event badge. I've hijacked the second part and showed that you can
please,
also use
I was too quick.
to play music. I'm sure that someone can look at this app and make it do both things at the same time. I'm sure it's just some trivial bug somewhere, but we're not going to find out during this live stream. So there you have it. You can play music with your badge. You can direct music with your badge, and hopefully you can do the same thing, or you can do both things at the same time in a future release.
And so, please check out the wiki. There's a lot of very useful links there. At least that were useful to me.
Yeah, so this is linked on the homepage of the wiki under stuff you can do with your CampZone 20 badge. You can find this link there. We will add more as they arrive. If you have any questions for this kind of stuff, post them on Twitch. We will see them, and we might be able to answer a few still. If you like these kinds of live streams, we have a few more coming up. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. Amsterdam time, Sebastius will be doing a soldering workshop, where hopefully, hopefully he will work on improving the audio path, removing some of the speaker noise that we have right now if the LEDs are turned on your badge. So this is supposed to be good fun. And on Sunday, yours truly will be available for general question and answers. During an Ask Me Anything session, for 1 hour, you can ask me whatever you want, and you might even get an answer. So please join us if you're interested in this kind of thing. Thanks for joining this one. Thank you, Quinten, for showing us how to work with this DAW software.